Hey Gemini, I hope that you're all doing well. In the pre-shuffle, the vibe was connected with you going to a place where you can be focusing more on yourself. I don't know if you haven't been feeling good about something or you've just been feeling kind of blah. There's something that's going on that feels like it's going to bring you back into a space of maybe being more centered around yourself. Maybe there's just something going on that's sort of bringing your attention to that. We are starting off with the Lovers. This is your card. So we are starting off with the energy of Gemini. When Lovers come out, there can be a focus on relationships. There can also be a focus on choices too. This can be about managing your relationships right now, or managing an important relationship. And this can also be about managing multiple things that you have going on that you care about right now and trying to keep the balance. It can be I want to focus on this relationship, and it's also important to me that I focus on this interest or this activity that I have. So there can be these sorts of things right now that are going on. It feels like picking among things that you like and that you're interested in. So overall, this feels like there's a variety, which is definitely, the word variety is associated with the energy of Gemini. You can be wanting to choose things that feel more grounded to you and more foundational. This can be something that you're focusing on. For some of you, there can be something going on with, the Emperor is coming out, so this can mean maybe there's some serious direction that a career path is going in, or maybe there's a serious direction that your relationship is going in. There can be more of a heavier sense of commitment that's involved as well. You can be looking at something and saying, I'm choosing to go in this direction, and this is something that I'm going to stay committed to. And so there's a choice that is feeling actually very serious if you were to go that way. And it seems like that's a choice that's being made here. From everything that I'm seeing, this is feeling like there having to be balance within your relationships and the things that you're emotionally involved in, and also kind of where you're going within your life. So both of those things. So you can be maybe trying to show up for the people that you care about, and also focusing on your career, focusing on your life path, your direction. It doesn't have to be career, but it can be career. It's something going on that's personal to you and your individual journey, and then also stuff having to do with the things that you're emotionally involved within. And there being all of these different things. And this can be your legacy, it can be your life path, it can be the stuff that you're developing, and then also kind of the relationships that you need to keep up with as well that are important to you to be showing up for. So it feels right now like you have a lot on your plate. You can feel very busy, and you can be maybe realizing what feels especially important to you. Making sure that you're working on things or showing up for things that they really do matter to you, and that you're using your discernment when it comes to the things that you're choosing as well. When you're presented with different information and different options, making sure that you're choosing the things that feel worthwhile to you, and that's being taken into consideration. What's really important? Am I choosing those things for myself? Do I know what's important to me? And some of you, there can be a little bit of a shift going on within your relationships. I saw this I did another reading too, where there's something about a shifting going on socially. This can be different one-on-one dynamics that are changing for you as you're kind of growing and evolving. And I think where you see yourself and what you see yourself doing. That can be something that's kind of developing too. Maybe something that you were doing before that's kind of changing, like a way that you were showing up within life, or like who you knew yourself to be. That can be going through some type of like decimation and recreation process currently. Some of you, I will say, like, there could have been a relationship, or there could have been like a project or an activity that you were working on. Having Death card can mean like maybe you're looking at that and feeling like you want to be prioritizing something else, or you want to be choosing something else, but you are going to have to end this. So yeah, this can be like a relationship that you're deciding you want to end, or it can be like a business venture that you're deciding you want to end. But whatever it is, it will be something that you feel like, even though you could continue, that part of the journey is feeling like it's over to you. Because I am seeing the Death card. Or it can mean like I need to stop this thing or quit this thing in order to begin that thing, or order to like continue on this path. Maybe it's also saying like the path splits and you have to choose what's most important to you. Like, do you want to be with this person, or you want to be with that person? You want to work on this project, you want to work on that project. Like, what do you want to be doing here? So I think that's something really big that can be coming up for you, where it feels like there are definitive choices that are being made, and it's connected with the things that you're showing up for and what you're working on right now. And I am seeing something that's coming to an end, and this feels like it's like relatively something actually really big that you've been participating in. And I think like part of your identity can be something that's changing, that's involved with this. I think it's because your like sense of self can be changing. So this can be like what I see as being my purpose can be going through a shift right now. What I see as being my legacy can be going through a shift right now. I maybe thought that I wanted like this type of lifestyle. Maybe I want that type of lifestyle. It feels like something like actually really huge, and it has to do with you and your individual person, and then how that kind of affects the choices that you're making too. Because this feels like it's connected with like the things that you're building within your life. And like, I don't want to call this an identity crisis, but I think something related to like your identity and your sense of self is changing in a really big way. And there are certain things that you're looking at and you're like, well, this has to end because like this like era of my life is coming to an end, because I'm transforming into something new and different, and I need to surrender to the truer me that's kind of being like unveiled through this process. So there can be parts of you that maybe you identified with, or like certain paths or activities or relationships, associations that you're looking at and you're like, I don't know if that's really true for me. Like, I don't know, the word iconic is coming through. I don't know if that's really like who I understand myself to be at this moment in time. So there can be certain stuff that's falling away that like you could have been about those things and they could have felt really important to you. Now you can be looking at it and being like, I don't know if that's really me anymore. And I think that this is like part of a bigger transition that you're going through right now, and that it is long-term going to affect your choices and your relationships that you're making. And this feels too like certain things are being taken off your plate that you were entertaining before. Certain things that you're like, this doesn't really matter so much to me anymore, and this has become more important, so I really need to start prioritizing this, and I want to. And I think like you're also like feeling like you're becoming more of an individual as well, and like your path is becoming more defined and more clear to you. And so it's also making it obvious stuff that no longer like really feels aligned for that anymore. I'm seeing a big focus on Mars energy. We have Aries and we have Scorpio right next to each other. I'm also seeing Sun, and I'm seeing Pluto, and I'm seeing Gemini here. So we have all of these different energies that we're connecting with. I think that this has a lot to do with what you understand yourself to care about and what really matters to you now. And this can be something that feels it's becoming very clearly defined to you. And that also means the stuff that you're like, that doesn't really matter so much to me anymore. These are things that can be being let go of. And this can mean like certain relationships are falling away, like certain pastimes could be falling away, like certain things that you could have been investing in can be falling away, because what you're stepping into is feeling more clear to you, and it's kind of like if it's not in that category anymore, it can be something that's shifting in a big way for you. This means that choices in your relationships that you're connecting with can feel more like destined to you, more significant to you. There could be pressure for you to keep certain things on your plate, but this feels like if you were to do that, it could be some like peer pressure that's happening, because it can be stuff that you don't really want to have on your plate. And this also seems to like there can be some stuff that you've been focusing on that you don't feel good about doing that anymore. It can be stuff where if you're choosing that, you feel like it's enforcing you to have like inner conflict that you do. Like you can have inner conflict about certain things that you've been having on your plate, and you can look at that and say, I need to do something about this. So it feels like it's forcing necessary change to happen. Meaning, like, maybe there's somebody that you've been running around doing favors for, and you're like, I'm feeling that I've been, like, experiencing a lot of resentment over this, and it can be something where you're like, I'm not going to be doing that anymore, because I feel like there's something wrong with that for me, and I don't want to be doing it. There can be, like, a little bit of backlash if you decide to do this, but it can be something overall where you're like, I don't want to feel at odds with myself because this person is like pressuring me into doing this and I don't feel good about it. Like it feels like it feels like there's a lack of balance within that. There's like a lack of equilibrium. You know, if you're doing something where you're like kind of sacrificing yourself a little bit, and it's not really something that you feel happy with anymore, you can be looking at that and being like, I think that this is telling me something that I don't really want to be like using my time doing this anymore. Yeah, I want to like come back to this again. Like you could be doing favors for somebody or something like that, and you're like, I feel really resentful about this. Is just an example of how the energy can be playing out. You can feel yourself like short temper, like getting annoyed. You can start feeling resentful and then be like, I think this is telling me I don't really want to be doing this, and like, what am I doing this for? And I think that you're coming more into your own here, where you're like maybe willing more so to, I would not consider this being selfish. This feels like you knowing what you want to be doing and what you don't want to be doing, and like, why are you signing yourself up for stuff that you don't want to be doing? Especially when you don't feel good about it. And there's a difference between doing something and being like, I feel good that I did this and this is charitable and this sits well with me, versus you doing something and then being like, I'm walking away like feeling mad that I did that. And I think that maybe you were doing something like that before, where it's too busy, you've been having too much going on. And this is a time when you're going to look at stuff that you've been putting on your plate and take certain things off and being discerning about what you're doing. And I think before you weren't doing this. I think before that you may have been doing something to be like maybe people pleasing a little bit. And there's something going on within your life right now that's like not allowing you to do that. And the way that this looks like it's coming through, just intuitively, feels like, I think like certain things that are out of alignment, you're gonna have bigger feelings about them now, whereas before maybe you could like get away with doing certain stuff that was out of alignment, and now it's like you have bigger feelings. This means you can be getting more pissed off. It means that you can be getting more annoyed. It means that you can be feeling like deep resentment. You can be getting really short, like whatever these things are that you've been kind of like maintaining or like burying sort of your real feelings that you've had about. It feels like they're surfacing in a big way where you can't really ignore or deny them anymore. And I think that this was stuff that you were doing because you could have been like, I think that this is like the loving thing to do, or I feel like I'm supposed to, or like, I see this as being like overgiving. You had been overgiving. But now something is going on where you're like coming into your own now. And I think that you're going to be more clear. Like, I don't want to be spending my time doing this. Like, it's more, yeah, I'm seeing this thing about you feeling more centered around yourself. And what I was seeing in the beginning, like in the pre-shuffle before we started the reading, was this thing about like you wanting to feel more settled. And I think within your personal life, you can be looking at certain things, or just like within your person, you can have been like not feeling good about certain things, or just being like, why do I feel this way? Like maybe life has been lacking some joy, or lacking contentment, or like lacking peace that you know is possible. Maybe your moods have been being weird. Like maybe you've just been feeling like kind of apathetic, and you know it's not, that shouldn't be your baseline. Like it's not your baseline. So it can be stuff that you're looking at where like, I'm realizing that this has been happening because I've been overextending myself, where I've been people pleasing, where I've been like telling myself that this is the most loving thing for me to be doing, but I'm not taking care of myself. And I feel like my story has been becoming about everybody else's storyline but my own. So I think you're going to just like focus on your own individual storyline in a way that you hadn't been doing before. And I think that stuff surrounding like your identity, like maybe before your identity was centered around like taking care of this specific person, it can be something that's changing right now, or being like the helper for everybody, you know, like something can be going on that's like really changing for you, where you're like, I'm like everybody else's support system, and I'm not my own, and I don't even really have a support system. So there can just be something here where you feel like you're growing a little bit more of a backbone where you hadn't really had one before. And I think you've been like on all of these little missions that you're going to be taking off of your plate. And I think the way that you see yourself, maybe you felt like other people's stories were more important than your own too. And you can be like, what about me and what I'm doing with my life? I just feel like you're stepping more into like main character energy that you weren't in before. And this actually looks like an emotional breakthrough. And I think your relationships have a lot to do with this. And some of you can be feeling like something was going on with your energy. You could have been burnt out, and you even could have been having some like health issues because you need to take care of yourself and you haven't been. And I think for some of you, you've been caretaking other people and you haven't been focusing on yourself, and something's going on now, whether this be like your mental health, your physical health, whatever it is, something's going on where it forces you to focus on yourself because you need to. And this also is going to impact the way that you're communicating and advocating for yourself too. And I think like what ends up being important to you can be shifting in like what you're focusing on. And some of you, there can be like family dynamics that are going to be at play here. But I think like in order for you to kind of move where you really want to be moving, you can have to deal with some stuff that maybe you have been avoiding dealing with a little bit. So this is going to help with all of that. All right, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting and tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.